Hey everybody, Randall Cornet here. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm in a pretty great mood. AMC absolutely crushed what analysts were forecasting for like the earnings, and we knew that Q2 earnings were going to be good. I was pretty bullish on that, and I think the majority of you guys were as well. But absolutely, really great numbers. Exceeded even my expectations in terms of net losses. We're not going to go through all these numbers. You guys are big boys and girls. You guys can read the actual earnings document if you want. But the things that stood out to me was, yeah, look, 561.2 million in net losses in 2020, now sitting at 344 million. So they're definitely making headway in those numbers. Looking at EBITDA debts, it was 340.3 million, now sitting at negative 150.8. So they're clearing headway on there. So really the purpose of the video for me was to just give you guys the few things that really stood out to me, and that I thought was important, or like the things that really just was like, hey, draw my attention here. And there was a lot of good things that were said. Adam Aron is, I think, doing about as good as any CEO in his position could do. So that being said, we'll jump right into it. So 45 days of theater time before streaming for the next year from Warner Brothers. So AMC is working on getting a contract done with Warner Brothers where they're going to have an agreement that Warner Brothers movies will play in movie theaters for 45 days before they release to any sort of online streaming services. And I believe that will start next year. That's really big news. And I was talking about this in some of my Discord chats and some of the people that I talk to in group chats on Twitter, that I think you're going to see a lot more of Hollywood, whether it's producers, big movie companies, actors, actresses, coming out and basically lobbying against online streaming because it's starting to hurt their pockets too. We kind of seen that with Scarlett Johansson. So it gives you an idea of where we're going. Some of the bigger things, obviously, and if you guys haven't heard about this, will allow me to make you guys happy or make your day. So by the end of the year, Adam Aron has committed to accept Bitcoin at AMC theaters, as well as Google Pay and Apple Wallet, but Bitcoin being the main one. He then further went on to elaborate the fact that he serves on the boards for Centricus, which is a company that he's working with. That Centricus company is actually working on buying another crypto exchange company called Arkit, which specializes in blockchain, cloud computing, et cetera. And so he kind of alluded to the fact that AMC possibly is entertaining the idea of working in certain blockchains, et cetera, in the future, or incorporating blockchain into AMC's future. It seems like he's definitely open to that idea. So there's kind of an interesting thing that he talked about, and it's complex, but I'm going to try and break it down like he did in the most simple way. So he's recommending a new policy as basically the head of the board of directors, that CEO and basically the executive management team is going to be required to hold a certain amount of AMC shares equal to their salary. So to give you an example, he gave an example as himself. So him as CEO would be required to hold a share amount equal to the value of $12 million in AMC. So it's based off of a year and, a multiple of years and their salary. So his shares, he's going to be required to hold $12 million in AMC shares. For the CFO, they're going to be required to hold for 6 years of their salary and shares. Executive vice presidents, 4 years of salary and shares. Senior vice presidents, 2 years of salary and their shares. And then he further went on to elaborate that he himself has still not sold one share of AMC stock for his entirety of his 5 years of owning the actual security. So I thought that was pretty good. And he's had multiple opportunities. He mentioned he could have sold in March, in June during our run up. And he committed that he had no intention not to sell all the way up into later on this year. He went on to talk about the 10b5-1 plan, which I'm going to be looking into. That'll be a whole different video. But basically, he said some of his shares, he's going to be passing off trading control to an independent third-party bank. He alluded that it would be, smaller amounts and they would do this over periods of months and it just wouldn't be done at one time. And it wasn't going to be the entirety of his position. Again, though, I'm still interested to see how this works out. If they already have plans guaranteed, like what bank is going to sell these and potentially how they could be used against us. But that's just speculation on my end. I just want to see if that's. I'm going to look to see if how they can basically screw us. That really does worry me. But as far as Adam goes, I'm confident in him as ever. I don't think he has any ill intent or ill will towards us. I think his end game is our end game. Again, this dude's children own shares in the stock. And the fact that he's basically committing their executive management team to holding a fairly large position of their salary in AMC stock tends me to lead me to believe that they're all on board. And then last but not least, a pretty big news. And again, this is all speculation. I don't want to jump the gun on this, and I'm sure a lot of people are, but he's entertaining the idea of reaching out to Ryan Cohen's GameStop for possible partnerships in terms of esports and that sort of thing. Mentioned that Epic Games is on one of the founders or somebody that's on the board of Epic Games is also on the board of AMC, which is pretty interesting. But he is entertaining the idea of actively working with GameStop, which I thought was pretty interesting. So as far as the questions go, we know we were talking about getting these questions answered. We definitely know there's not going to be any dividend. I think their company is restricted from offering a dividend, according to Adam Aron, for pretty much the next year, like from now. So we won't be seeing any dividend, but we did talk about that they're actively seeking other methods to get rid of debt that doesn't include diluting shares. So they're actively working on that as well. So those are my main takeaways that really stood out for me from the earnings call. I have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys on Twitter have seen, I've been working with AMC Bigums and that guy Astro. If you don't know them, you need to go check them out. But we're working on some really, really great bombshell DD that I think exposes a lot in terms of hiding failure to delivers, etc. It's just a matter of piecing that all together and not jumping the gun. So we're trying to dissect it in a sense, for lack of a better word, to make sure that there's not too many holes in the theory before we release it. And again, that'll be just speculation, but we found some really interesting stuff. So be on tune for that, and I will catch you guys fairly shortly. I love you long time. AMC to the moon. Peace.